I'm treating my mum to a day out in Heathrow's Terminal 3. We're flying Finnair, we've got 4 hours until pushback, so let's hit those lounges. Our Finnair Business Class ticket will grant us access to all the Business Class Oneworld Lounges within Terminal 3 here at Heathrow. I've heard the Cathay Pacific lounge is the best, so let's head there for lunch. Inside you're greeted with this dining area, opposite the live kitchen, and we'll come back here in a second. Next, the second space is dedicated to help yourself food, a hot buffet, hot and cold drinks, plus communal dining. Moving through, most seating is next, followed by the bar, and that's where we'll find my mum. There's also more private seating options towards the end of this lounge, which are really good if you're travelling solo. Big windows overlooking the apron and the southern runway make this lounge a bit of a winner. Anyway, here's the bar list. What are you going to get? We've gone for champagne, something to kick the day off right. Back to the food, and I've ordered the Dan Dan Mien, along with 2 pork bows. Mum took the egg fried rice. Look at the size of those buns. A top class meal. The noodles were in a really creamy broth, nice and hot too. They really hit the spot. If you fancy something more self-serve, here's the buffet counters. Overall, there's a great selection of food and drink on offer in this lounge. You're spoilt for choice. And I'd have been pretty happy eating any of this. In the end though, I opted for a dessert to finish the meal off. Something I missed earlier is this workstation area right at the end of a lounge. I only noticed it when I was ordering my mojito at the bar, which again was brilliant. We're heading to what I've been told is the worst lounge next, and that is the American Airlines lounge. The guy who checked us in was super informative actually, and mentioned that we could use other lounges in T3 as well. Maybe he knows how bad this one compares to the rest. A plus point, the lounge does have decent views of aircraft. There's a Delta 767-400 here. Shame it's not an American Airlines plane, isn't it? Negative points? Well, just about everything else. Check out these dried out noodles. The salad selection was alright, and then the drinks. Well, really just a token gesture here, isn't it, with lowball brands and not much of an offer. The sweet stand is maybe a redeeming feature, but overall it's a big thumbs down. Why anyone would stay in here when there's 3 other options right next door that are far better, I have no idea. Next up, British Airways. Let's call it the second worst lounge that we'll visit. The dark corridor doesn't really inspire greatness, and the check-in agent couldn't seem to get a head around us being allowed in the lounge as we're flying a Oneworld airline. Perhaps the busiest of the 4 lounges that we're going to visit today, but we timed it perfectly and snagged a window just as someone was leaving. I actually thought the food spread in here was pretty good, better than what I've seen in the past and different to my last visit. Mum had different thoughts though, which we'll come to later on. And drinks. That's something that BA seems to do quite well at. There's 2, maybe 3 bars in here, plus a Prosecco bar. All free pour, help yourself options. There's plenty there, you won't go thirsty in a BA lounge. Points to improve, this lounge is pretty dirty. We spent about an hour in here, and dirty glasses and plates were left all around from previous people that had visited. Down under next, and it's the Qantas lounge. Straight on is the Gin Bar, located at the level that you walk in at. That seems to open about 3 o'clock. Again, let me know what you're having. I went with an Aussie gin. I think it's a Brookies, and I got that with a tonic. It's a nice G&T for me. As we head upstairs, you can see the formal restaurant area below next to the Gin Bar. Unfortunately, this opens about 5 o'clock. The salt and pepper squid is going to have to wait for another day. And upstairs, you're straight into the main bar with another strong selection of drinks. An Aussie sparkling wine was Mum's chosen tipple. The lounge was very quiet when we visited, and we chose this seat next to the bar. Views are somewhat lacking though, that's probably one of the negative points here. The food is limited, but what was on offer did look quite good. This is the most basic offering that Qantas offer in this lounge, and they offer this outside of when their a la carte restaurant downstairs is closed. Probably unsurprisingly, they only open their main restaurant when they've got flights departing. So early in the morning is their 787 over to Perth, and then in the evening they've got their A380 to Singapore and then onwards to Sydney. The only loo that I'll put in this video is the Qantas one. Individual rooms and very well appointed. So that's the lounges. What's the view of Mum then, who's enjoyed her lounge crawl day? It's in there somewhere, find it. Ah, Mum. She's just lost the microphone down her top. So Mum, it's your first time in an airline lounge. What do you reckon's the worst out of the 4 that we've visited?
The worst, I think, was BA.
BA. Now that's a strong statement. Why was BA the worst lounge that you visited today?
Because the food were rubbish and the service were rubbish.
I mean, that's fair, really. Like, we were in there an hour, none of the drinks or plates around us were cleared, which is a bit shit, let's be honest. So you sat there and there's dirty stuff around you. It was busy as well. It's probably the busiest lounge that we've been in today, isn't it?
It wasn't cleaned.
And you would expect from a BA lounge, as someone who's never actually flown BA,
Exactly.
your view of the brand is that it's the best thing to fly, and now your view of the brand is pretty tainted, right?
Yep, definitely.
Right, third lounge on your list then, what do you reckon?
American Airlines.
Why? Why was that one bad?
Because that was probably worse than BA, to be honest.
Strong and controversial.
Because the food was absolutely awful.
Well, there wasn't any food in there, was there?
No, exactly.
I think that's the thing, right? There was no food available.
It was rubbish. So
Drinks were a bit poor.
Yeah, it wasn't very good at all.
Right, so we're going to flip American to the worst and BA is the second
BA is
worst.
the second, I think, yeah.
Right, so we're in the Qantas lounge now.
Yeah.
We've also visited the Cathay Pacific lounge, which is your number 2 lounge today.
This one.
Qantas is number 2.
Yeah.
Why?
It's nice. Not a great option for food.
I agree with that.
But I think Cathay Pacific hits the top. Everything about it.
Yeah, I reckon if we'd have come here when there's a Qantas flight and the restaurant downstairs is open, it might have inched the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
But right now, the buffet is quite limited when there's no Qantas flights flying.
Yeah, definitely.
The bar's good though. The Gin Lounge, I think, opened at maybe 3 o'clock, 3:30, so we've managed to get a G&T.
Yeah.
But the Cathay Pacific, I'd agree, was definitely the better lounge, right?
Yeah.
The
food was nice.
The live kitchen's great.
The people, everything about it was wonderful.
It's Asian hospitality.
Polite hospitality.
It's great.
Everything was good. They move your plates straight away.
Yeah.
The service was good. Everything about it, couldn't fault it. Brilliant.
And it was quiet, which is mad, because anyone in any of these lounges could use any of the lounges, including the Cathay lounge, right?
Yeah, brilliant.
And you get champagne in there too.
And you get champagne.
So that's a win, right?
That's a win-win. Lovely.
I think on that note, we'll leave it there. Be sure to subscribe to see the flight that we took at the end of this lounge crawl day up to Helsinki in business class on Finnair. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you there.